Hello, hello. All right, hi everyone. I'm Ben from SimVenture. Sorry for some technical hiccups to get started there. But I'm here to talk about Validate today, which is our interactive ideation and business model canvas tool. So just some quick slides to start with. So first of all, if what you see today interests you at all and you think it might be useful, then please feel free to scan the QR code on the screen to book a personalized demo with one of our team. Uh, okay, now we're going to talk about transforming theory into practice. So working either solo or in teams, Validate allows students, one second. Validate allows students to develop startup ideas, build a business model canvas, test their assumptions, and share a startup portfolio. So there's 4 different steps to Validate, and those are ideation, planning, testing, and sharing, which I'll take you all through over the course of the next 45 minutes or so. So Validate is ideal for education. It has a real-world application in terms of bridging between the theory of business planning and the business model canvas and practice in terms of making your own canvas from research that you've done, that your students have done, uh, into a nicely shareable format on an online tool. Critical thinking will encourage evidence-based decision making and also allows students to evaluate their own kind of evidence-based decision making through a series of tests using a range of different methodologies as well. It supports both individual and team-based work. It's possible, as I'll show you, for students to have projects that they're working on individually, but also as part of a team, and they can switch seamlessly between both. It enables real-time educator feedback, and that's through either the educator monitoring the progress of the students through their own back-end logins, coordinator roles, admin roles, etc., which I'm not going to show you today, but it's a very simple kind of dashboard that's set up so that you can see how the students are getting on. And also, it will allow the educators to communicate directly with the students on there as well. Finally, it kind of goes without saying that we're developing skills here, and to do with building entrepreneurial skills through the course of completing a canvas, through the course of coming up with an idea through the ideation tool, but also strategic thinking skills in there as well, in terms of how the information that we're putting in to Validate is going to help us build a successful venture, a successful business, or it can even be something simpler, such as a kind of new branch of an existing business, or even just something like an event or something like that. Validate is very useful for planning those things as well. So on the screen there, we have 3 testimonials from existing clients to kind of demonstrate the proven impact that Validate has had on our clients. And those range from Trudy Murray at Munster Technological University. We've got Robert Wilson from the Open University, and we've got Dr. Amanda Berry from Loughborough University as well. If you're interested in reading a bit more about those, please head on over to our website at some point and look at the client testimonials that we have. And we also have a range of videos on our YouTube channel that have testimonials from our clients who've used Validate successfully as well. Right, so there's a range of measurable outcomes, and we'll be getting to Validate very shortly. So, in terms of the clear articulation of the business ideas that the student have come up with, the completed canvas obviously is an outcome. Validated customer and market assumptions, and feedback from the educators, and obviously evidence of teamwork and an entrepreneurial mindset as well. So yes, like I said before, if you want to book a demo, please do scan the QR code on the screen and feel free to contact us directly at comms@simventure.co.uk and our website address is there as well. All right, so enough with the preamble. Let me just switch over to validate now. So hopefully you can see my screen. So on the screen now we have validate. So validate is an online tool, and as such it's accessible through any device that has an internet connection through the browser. Much like anyone who joined our demonstration of evolution, our interactive business scenario simulation, sorry, a couple of weeks ago, both of our products here are fully online. We do have a precursor simulation which is available offline, but for validates it will only work with devices with an internet connection. So when students log in for the first time, this is what they'll see, a blank business model canvas. It's very much the standard canvas which was developed by Alexander Osterwalder, but we have made one addition of this field of sustainability, which I'll talk about a bit later on. And it's not by any means the only iteration of the canvas that has added something to do with sustainability, but we've done that there as well. So, like I said before, there are 4 elements to validate, and the canvas is actually the second one. So if we switch back to ideation, this is where you know a student can generate an idea from nothing. And as I mentioned quite briefly, it doesn't have to be an entirely new business that we're talking about setting up here, or a new enterprise. It can be changes to an existing business. It can be something like planning an event using the canvas. So it could be really anything. And just coming up with an idea is the important part from the ideation point of view. So in general, this might take some time. It could take up to maybe an hour to complete the ideation process. So I'll be kind of skimming over certain bits, partly in the interest of time, and partly because I don't want to subject you all to watching me having to brainstorm in real time there as well. So let's just click on create new idea first of all. Validate's great at kind of breaking things down into very easily manageable steps. And then here we have the 6 different steps that go into generating an idea. And we start off with the inspiration through picking images that inspire us in some way or another from our image bank. And then we use a problem solution based approach to ideation where we use those images to kind of brainstorm for potential problems that could be represented by those images. And then the logical next step to that is coming up with solutions to those problems as well. And then the rest of the process for ideation is really about narrowing things down from an initial 6 ideas down to 3, and then from 3 down to 1 through a rating process. And finally, we'll end up with 1 idea, hopefully, that we can take through our business model canvas. Another thing that Validate is great at and will do consistently is showing you worked examples from real life companies and how they might have completed the section of Validate that you're looking at. So in this case, the ideation, we have a product called the Impossible Burger, which is a real life kind of plant-based burger. And the problem that this company might have set out to address is that the meat products are problematic in various ways. Within the text there, it mentions animal rights, and the solution to that would be to make meat from plants, so that it kind of does away with the need to use animal products in there as well. So that's just one idea and how they will have completed the ideation section. So as you can see, we've got an image, we've got a problem, a solution, and we've got some ratings, which I'll take you through very shortly. So I'll click on next. And now it's time to start ideating, to start brainstorming for ourselves. So we have, if I scroll down now, we've got an image bank of 4 pages of images to kind of hopefully inspire students. And they're going to pick images based on these 3 questions here, which are: what do they enjoy doing? What do they know how to do, and what do they care about? Okay, so that's what we're thinking about when we're looking at these images here and what the students will be thinking about. So we do have 4 pages of images there. So hopefully students should be able to find something that kind of inspires them. It doesn't have to be a kind of light bulb moment. It can be just you know something that kind of appeals to them based on one of those three questions that we've seen above. But if they can't find anything that appeals to their specific areas of interests, to their particular areas of knowledge, then they are free to upload their own images as well into Validate 2. So they're not restricted to those on the image bank. I could spend a long time explaining why these images appeal to me, but rather than do that, I'm going to just pick the first 6 images, and these might inspire me. Maybe I know a bit about piano playing, which I don't. Maybe I know a bit about the other areas, but in any case, I'm going to pick the first 6 just to really demonstrate how this works. So if I click on Next, as we mentioned before, once we've selected images, we take a problem solution based approach to ideation. So in this case, we're talking about problems being opportunities. So about thinking about problems that could potentially be represented by these images. So, this one here, the wind farm, it's tempting to think that I have to limit any problem that I come up with to something to do with sustainable energy or something to do with coding, for instance, but it doesn't have to be. Perhaps this image has a kind of knock-on effect in your mind, and we're thinking about this image something to do with a rural setting, something to do with a time that you saw wind farms, and that conjures up a problem to you. It really is not restricted to being something strictly about what's in the image there as well. So if we look at the case studies here, and these vary a little bit from the case studies that we'll see within the canvas, because in here we have 6 big brands and the problems that they might have feasibly set out to address through their own business. So we've got the example here of Nike, and perhaps they set out to address the issue that running shoes are not designed well to prevent injury. It could be speculation that we've assumed that they're going to fix that problem, but I did see a movie, I think it had Ben Affleck in it quite recently, where that was kind of a theme of how they started that company. Likewise, something to do with Google might be because there is no easy way to find information on the internet. IKEA, stylish furniture isn't affordable, easily available. Although having been to IKEA quite a few times in the last couple of months, I'm not sure I quite agree with the affordable aspect there, but there we go. Anyway, if I go back to my problems, so I'm not going to force you to watch me brainstorm in real time. So I'm just going to, I would just write in any problems that I think of there, and I'm actually just going to enter in some dashes so that we can just proceed into the next step here as well. So we've come up with problems, now it's time to come up with solutions. And it's not necessary for the student to have a solution to every problem that they've identified. As long as they have a few, they'll be able to continue down the road towards completing the ideation section. Once again, we've got the case studies, and this time it tells us what the solutions might have been that those companies implemented. So in Nike's case, they decided to design a running shoe with a more absorbent sole to protect the runner. Google was to build a search engine to arrange and score websites by relevance to the search terms. And then IKEA were creating modern and affordable flat pack furniture that customers build themselves to address the problem that they thought of. So these are all potential solutions to the problems that those businesses might have set out to address. Once again, I'm not going to really brainstorm here. I'm just going to enter dashes. But you'd think that the students would come up with solutions to their problems. And like I said before, they don't have to have a solution to every single problem in here as well. So now we have 6 problems and 6 solutions. Well, I don't, I've got 6 sets of dashes. But now I want to narrow those 6 ideas down to 3. So how I'm going to do that is based off these 3 questions here. So which of those ideas will be easiest to get started with? Which one is the student most excited about? And which one could have the most social environmental impact? So that's how we're picking between these different ideas. It might seem quite arbitrary, but maybe you want to pick the three that you're most excited about, or the three that are easiest to start. There's no hard and fast rules in here, but for the purposes of validate, that's what we're choosing. So easiest to start. Perhaps this one had something to do with coding, and perhaps the student had a background in coding, so they'll pick that one. Most excited about, perhaps the student is passionate about sports or something, so they might pick one of those two. And then which one will have the most social environmental impact. Every time I use the first 6 images, then the obvious answer is this one to do with wind farms. But like I said, the problem and solution doesn't necessarily have to be literally linked to what's in the image there as well. I'll click on next. And then you've got 3 ideas now down from 6. 3 problems, 3 solutions. And then we're going to rate them based on potential customer base, market size, how much is each customer willing to pay, and again, the excitement factor, which I think is quite important. And in my experience of using this in my capacity or my previous life as a lecturer, more often than not, the excitement factor wins out over everything. And that's no bad thing. If you're looking to start a venture, then it's important to be excited about it. So I'm going to rate these ideas just at random. So because I don't really have real ideas, I'll put in some ratings here. But the student obviously would give this a bit of thought. And as I mentioned before, if I click on next, the final step is to pick one of these 3 ideas. And as I mentioned before, often the incitement factor wins out over everything. So perhaps that idea will win out over others, despite having lesser market size and price point than the others. And that's, again, I don't mean to say that's a bad thing. As long as a decision is made, that's the main thing. It doesn't have to be the optimal product. There's no right and wrong at this point. We haven't done any research to back up how feasible an idea is, and that's what validate is for, among other things as well. So I've got a problem solution. I don't really have one, but I finished that, and then I'd be free to take my idea through and put it through the canvas here as well. So the next step after ideation, generating an idea, is to take that idea and use the business model canvas to plan how we're going to go about bringing that idea into reality. Okay, so these are all the different sections of the canvas. Ranging from who our key partner is going to be, what's our value proposition going to be, looking at our costs and revenues, and also the sustainability. Validate suggests starting here with customer segments, and it's quite logical when you think about if you're looking to generate, to come up with an idea for a business and to plan that out. Maybe it's best to think about who is this business for, who are we solving a problem for, who's going to pay us at the end of the day to take this forward. So that's why customer segments is suggested there. So you'll be glad to know that I'm not going to plan a business right in front of you, but I am going to switch to one that's already been completed. But this is an opportunity for me to show you how easy it is to switch between projects on Validate. So you'll see the name of my project up here is Demo Project. If I click up there, I've actually got 6 different projects on the go within my account. So this one here, Demo Project, is only being worked on by one student, which is me. Whereas if I switch across to this live 0, live 0, I'm not entirely sure what that is, but you see it's been populated, but also that there's 2 different students here assigned to this project. So these students, they could be working together. One of them could be very focused over here on the partners, activities, and resources, what they need to take things forward, while the other student might be very focused on costs and revenues, for instance. And you could have any number of students working together on a shared canvas, a shared project to take that forward. But it could be that those students want also to have their own version of the project to work on their own time, to maybe test out things before they want to share that with the group. And they can do that using Validate very easily. So if I wanted to invite somebody else to join my project, it's just as simple as clicking on the cogwheel, entering their email address, and that student will be added to my project there as well. If, like I said, the student wanted to test things out on a shared project before they shared it with the group, they can actually duplicate the project down there as well, which creates a clone at this particular point where everything's been filled in, and then they can make changes and it won't be reflected on the shared project, but they can switch back and forward between them up here very easily. You can create as many new projects as they want as well. I'm sure there is a limit. I've never reached it, but I have seen accounts that have 20, 30 different projects on there. So there's quite a lot in there too. Right, so I've completed all these sections on my canvas while you weren't looking. But looking at that, it doesn't really look very detailed, does it? Looking over at my value proposition, it's just one sentence there. My customer segments are just a name and an age range, but this is just to fit it into this nice one-page kind of view. If I click on something like my value proposition, you'll see that it has actually been fleshed out quite a bit more than that in there as well. And likewise, if I look at my customer segments and click on those, you'll see that these do contain quite a bit of information. But when I close them down, it shrinks them down into this nice one-page scrollable view in here as well. So imagine I hadn't completed all these different sections of the canvas, and I was going to take the advice that Validate proffered, which is to start with customer segments. How would that work? So if I click on customer segments, and you'll see that once again, Validate is guiding me through in very small kind of bite-sized steps about how to proceed with creating customer segments within my business model canvas. So the two steps, defining my customer and creating a persona. And you'll see these are also reflected on the left side of the screen, so I can flick, I can do things out of order if I want to by choosing things here, or I can just proceed through by clicking next at the bottom of the screen. So as I scroll down there, you'll see once again, as I mentioned before, Validate will always have a real life worked example. So here we have an example of Brick Lane bikes, and a completed customer segment for that business as well. So you can see what they've got here. This is what we'll have when we're finished, but obviously not for Brick Lane bikes, but for our own company. So age range of 35 to 45. It's a B2C segment, and we've got a description of their of the segment, of their goals, their frustrations, and also what problem that this company is solving for them as well. So to move on to do it myself, the first step being define my customer, I can click on next at the bottom, or I can click up here on to define my customers. And you'll see that this step is broken down into 4 sub-steps. And those are, what's the name of this customer segment? What type of segment is this? What's the age range of that customer? So we're talking about types of segments, so B2B, B2C. You might be familiar with those terms, but if you're not, then it explains that all within the text within Validate. So depending on what we chose, if it's a B2C segment, then what's the age range of those customers? Whereas if we'd chosen a B2B segment, what kind of size of company are we targeting and hoping that they'll become customers of ours as well? And then finally, a brief description of those customers too. You'll see that I've already completed this section, but this would populate and go up as you entered your own information in here too. Scrolling down, you'll see that it's time to enter our own information, which I've already done. So my first segment here is Generation X and Y. I didn't complete this myself, I'll be honest. I'm not a big fan of categorizing generations just because I don't really know which one I am, and it depresses me to think about how old I've become. But Generation X and Y, it's a B2C segment. It could have been a B2B, but because I've selected B2C, then it's 18 to 40-year-olds apparently. If I'd chosen B2B, then instead I'd be estimating the number of staff that this business or these businesses employ in here as well. And then I've got a brief description. Down below that, I've got another B2C segment for thoughtful families with a description in there too as well. So you can see we've got this case study button here, and this applies to every single section and subsection of Validate. So if I click on there, instead of having the Googles and IKEAs of this world, what we have are eight, now it used to be six, kind of, I always say recent startups, but when I click on the tab to kind of expand this down, you'll notice that this robotical company, which happens to be based in Edinburgh, which is where I am also based, was actually started in 2016, so I'm not sure. It still seems quite recent to me, but I'm not sure I can call that a recent startup anymore. But I can read a bit about the company, and I can also see exactly how they would have completed this element of the canvas, this very specific element of the canvas. So I've got the customer name, the customer segment name. I've got what type of segment is this, how many people they employ, and a description. We've also got examples from a range of different sectors. So this is a robotics company, an education company. We've got Change Please, which is a coffee company. We've got fashion companies, comms studios, and a whole range of different sectors that students can kind of read about, see how they would have completed this individual section of the canvas. So it's great for inspiration purposes in there as well. Also, anyone who's taught using the business model canvas knows that one of the main challenges, I'm thinking about back in the days when I used to hand out A3 bits of paper and ask students to get on with it, is the level of detail. So you'd often find that certain areas of the canvas that students were very interested in were very verbose, whereas some sections have been glossed over. So having these examples in here really does help to kind of present an idea of how detailed we're looking for the responses to be. So this is a kind of good level of detail. It's not too, too wordy, but it has all the detail that we want. So going back to my strategy, I've already filled this in, so I can proceed to next, which is build a customer persona. This is by no means the most detailed of personas, but we're just thinking about what are their goals, what frustrates them, and what problem or need are we solving for them. And you can see that once again, this has been filled in already for my Generation X and Y, and for my thoughtful families segments in there too. Looking at the case studies, you'll see you've got the same 8 companies across those different sectors and whatnot, but while the information about the company remains the same, you'll see that now I see how they would have filled in this particular element of the canvas. So in effect, what these case studies represent is 8 different companies that have been put through the canvas. So every single section of the canvas has been filled in for those 8 different companies. So it really gives students a kind of well-rounded picture of how they would have gone about filling in the canvas as well. All right, so once I press on next, so I've completed the customer segments now. I could actually now upload an image like I've done here to represent that segment. So I've got my 2 segments, Generation X and Y, 18 to 40-year-olds. I've got thoughtful families, families who think about what they're purchasing, socially conscious, so an image to represent that as well. And when I press done, everything's shrunk down to fit nicely into this one-page scrollable format in here as well. All right, so the other sections of the canvas, they work very much the same way. If I was to look at my value proposition, and here, for instance, you see the different steps that go into that, defining my product, analyzing my competitors, creating my USP. We've got a worked example here, this time for a backpack company. And you've done some competitor analysis down here as well for that company. Clicking on next, we've got the products and features, which is where we start entering our own information here. But if I click on the case studies, you'll see that once again, I've got my 8 companies that I can read about. I can see how they went about completing that element of the canvas as well. If I skip ahead to the summary, I've got my, I could upload an image to represent my value proposition, and you'll see it's all, you'll see what it looks like when I haven't uploaded an image. It's just that plus sign. So you can populate the canvas nicely, because it will appear later in your portfolio as well. Right, so back. So the canvas would be completed like that. A lot of guidance, a lot of bite-sized steps for the students to get through, a lot of case studies to help inspire them as well. But by no doubt, this will take the most amount of time of any of the 4 steps of Validate. So we looked at ideation, we looked at how to complete the canvas, Now we're going to look at tests. Okay, so in the process of completing a business model canvas, it will have been necessary to make some assumptions. Okay, so we don't have a real business in place as yet, so we're assuming what customer segments are going to be interested. We're assuming what the cost per unit is going to be of our product. Obviously, we might have done some research in there as well, but until we're actually doing it for real, it still remains an assumption in there too. So uh, Validate allows students to test any assumptions that they might have made. So you see a couple of tests here being done already, and this was to do with the assumption that multinationals will partner with my company and disclose impact information for their products. And likewise down here, the assumption was that customers will want to use this app and it will solve a problem for them. You'll notice I haven't actually at any point told you what the business idea is that I'm working with here, and that's because I don't really know myself, but it's beside the point. If I was to test an assumption that I've made, I can click on Create New Test. So this tells me a kind of background, the basics of testing. What is testing? We've got a worked example here of an interview that was conducted, the plan, the assumption that we're testing, and the results of that of those interviews there as well. But when I click on Next, really I really want to define what the assumption is that I want to test. So we've got some common assumptions here, which we could use to get started with. Obviously, the assumption might be a lot more specific than is detailed in here. But we looked at customer segments, so perhaps we want to test, have we identified the correct group of customers to target? That's not by any means the only thing I can test. I can test, can I actually get hold of all the resources that I need? Are my cost assumptions correct, etc. Can we create the desired social and environmental value within the sustainability section there as well? But going back to customer segments, have we identified the correct group of customers to target? So if you remember correctly, I'd identified Generation X and Y, and I think thoughtful families have been the two segments interested in my business. So if I go down to the bottom and choose customer segments, so I could maybe say, will Gen X and Y be interested in this product? There we go. That could be my assumption. Or maybe wording it as an assumption there, worded that as a question. So maybe Generation X and Y will be interested in this product there too. Relates to customer segments. And then if I proceed, I get to choose how I'm going to go about testing that. So I've got 6 different methodologies here, ranging from building a homepage. And the homepage is all hosted within Validate. It takes about 5 minutes to set up, but it really allows you to generate a branded kind of homepage with custom logos, custom images, etc., that you can send to as many people as you want, with some kind of predefined questions in there. Kind of acts like a mini survey, if you will. It's a good way of collecting data because all you need is that link, and you can share that link with anyone you want and collect feedback on your idea that way. Other options, research might seem quite general, but it does give you some information about what suggested kind of research you could do, trend analysis or competitor analysis, etc. If I was to choose something general like that, and I clicked on do research, it directs me to some external tools that I might want to use to go about doing some research there as well. Going back to choose a test, it could be surveys, in which case I'd be directed to external survey tools that I can use. But once I completed a survey, or once I completed something even like an interview, or even prototyping and selling, you'll see that the quality of evidence is rated by Validate as higher than doing something along the lines of interviews or surveys. But no matter what I'm doing, and Validate will guide me towards how to go about testing using that methodology. No matter which methodology I use, I can, collect evidence from here supporting documents in the form of survey results, offered interviews, transcripts of any prototypes that I made, or the success I had when I tried to sell this to test using that methodology, and that'll be captured within Validate for future use in there too as well. So once I go back, I've got an incomplete test here, the survey here, so I'm just going to delete that. Generation X and Y will be interested in it. Actually, I won't. If I click on Generation X and Y will be interested in this product, perhaps I've completed a test. I could write what my plan was, what my results were. I could upload the files to back up my findings, and then I get the choice to decide whether or not my assumption was valid, invalid, or whether I'm still not sure after having completed the test there. All right, so that's how you go about using the testing, which is the third aspect of Validate, which means that the one remaining item that we have is our portfolio. So portfolio brings everything together, makes it nicely shareable as well. I'll take you through how it works, but at the very top of the screen here on our portfolio, we have some formatting options in the form of templates with colors, schemes that you can choose from, and also some font options there too. Scrolling down, the students will have the opportunity to add logos and banner images to kind of represent their idea and to make their portfolio eye-catching as well. We've got the opportunity to upload any supporting documents into our portfolio as well. Scrolling down, we've got pictures and bios of our team members who look suspicious as like stock images to me, but you can see that they've got little brief bios in there, and there's always the opportunity to add more team members as your team grows as well. Scrolling down, we've got the canvas, which is shrunk down. It can be fully expanded just by clicking, but if we scroll down beyond the tests that we've conducted, we'll see that the full canvas is expanded down here as well. So it's fully expanded as we scroll right down. At the very bottom, you can add in some contact details in there as well as part of the portfolio. So what's useful about the portfolio, there's many useful things about it, but one thing is that you can use this to communicate between team members or between the tutor or the lecturer or the trainer and the user or the students. They can write messages and give feedback on specific areas of the canvas here as well. So if I wanted to give feedback on this set of images, if I wanted to give feedback on the team bios, I can do all that as well. I've already seen some things there too. Or any specific area of the canvas, I can communicate directly within Validate there too. Perhaps the main use of the portfolio is in terms of exporting. So if I click on export, this allows me to download the portfolio either as a PDF or a Word document. And a lot of our clients, would use this as a kind of ready-made assessment. So you could download that as a PDF or a Word document and submit it, as, an assessment or part of an assessment in there as well. But also, you can generate a web link. So if I had a real venture, a real enterprise, I wanted to share this with potential customers, with potential investors, or even potential team members, I could just send them this web link. Perhaps I want to keep certain things back in the name of confidentiality. So perhaps I'm going to exclude my finances and my competitor analysis, for instance, from my link. Once I copy that, I could then paste that into any browser and I'll be taken directly into my portfolio. So the person that you're sending that link to, who's clicking on the link, doesn't have to have a Validate account or even to have ever heard of Validate. They'll get full access to my portfolio in here. So they can read about my team members, they can look at all the sections of the canvas, or if they prefer to click around up here, they can do that. So, a very easy way to share your ideas with the interested party in whatever capacity they might be. All right, so we're coming up to the end of our time allowance now. I hope that I have given you a kind of brief tour of how Validate works in here as well. So we've been through the 4 different sections. Obviously, I had to whiz through certain parts, but feel free to watch this video again or to look at the other resources that exist within our YouTube channel and there as well to get some more information. Or as we mentioned at the very top of things, we have the opportunity here to book a one-to-one demo. You don't have to listen to me saying exactly the same things on the demo because I'm quite happy just to answer any questions that you might have as a result of watching this. Or if you want me to look at specific parts of Validate or talk about use cases, etc., we can do that as well. I make it sound like it's just me, but obviously we have a team. So booking a one-to-one demo in there will get you a demo with one of our team members. All right, so that's us coming up to 12 minutes past the hour. I think this was scheduled for 15 minutes, but I'm going to stop the broadcast there. And for those of you that watched, thank you very much. And please do get in touch if I can provide you with any more information. Thank you very much, and